Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Luke, and in this video I am going to finally be getting on with part 2 of my series of making my silicone clone stripper helmet so we can do cast molds. So through this we've got to do just a couple extra little details. So all of the silicone is actually done by the way, like part 1, I'll leave a link down in the description so you can see what I did. But in part 2, basically we've got to start making a mold between the front, this side and that side, not the front and back. And this way we are going to be sealing it in some Plasti-Paste 2 by Smooth-On. And essentially what this is going to be making a, well, what they call a mother mold, but a hard shell that we can lock onto the side of the head, that way the silicone doesn't move and warp when we start to add our material on the inside to actually cast the entire helmet. So this step, we've got to do a little bit of washing. It's a little bit dusty, so we've got to wash it first. Then we've got to build our mold. Essentially, we have to build a line that runs down from the front and the back so we can make part 1 mold and part 2. And then at the very end, we will then cast the whole thing in our Plasti-Paste. Alright, so let's talk about doing the card. Now, this isn't actually as difficult as I thought it was. I'd been putting this off for ages, but it's really, really simple. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. So first thing you're going to need is some of these. Now, these are just paint mixing cups. I got these at my automotive store just because they're like $1 each or something. But it's basically just a big mixing cup for doing HPLP spray painting sort of stuff. So I ended up getting like 4 of these, but I'm going to need more. So I'd recommend getting about 6 to 8 of these because they don't cost too much and you can always use them for something else. That's what we're going to mix part 1 and part 2 in. You also want to grab some really cheap chip paintbrushes because these paintbrushes are gonna, well, go to the bin. So don't make them really expensive fancy ones, just make them the cheapest physical paintbrush you can purchase. And with these paintbrushes you're going to need maybe about 10 of these. 10 will probably do you. The other thing you need is some IPA. Now, when it comes to using Plasti-Paste, you've got 2 parts to this. You've got part A and you've got part B. Now, the thing you've got to notice is that it's 1 part A to 2 parts B. So the thing to know about this is it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So they're not going to be even ratios. It's not going to be 50-50. We're going to be going 50 to 100. So whatever your smaller part is, you double it, and then that's what you get. Now, for me, when you open up your kit, this is your part A. This is like the hardening activator, and the other one is like a little cylindrical white tub, but mine is covered in stuff and I don't really want to touch it. But basically, what I'm going to recommend is you grab a set of scales, just some right cheap kitchen scales will do perfectly. And what you're going to want to do is pop that on the bench. You're going to grab your cup, you're just going to place it on there and zero it out. That way it cancels out the weight of our cup. The next thing you're going to do is take part B. So that's our sort of like paste. That's the thing that mostly is what you're seeing. Part A is sort of like a hardening liquid that sort of seeps into the mixture. So let's say we put 100 grams of part B in. Now I'm putting part B in first because that way I can sort of lump it in and get it right, because it's not a liquid, it's more of a solid sort of state. And then what we're going to do is once that's set, we're going to zero it out again on the scales and then take our part A and we're going to put in 50 grams of part A. That way we make a 2-to-1 ratio. Once that's in, it's race against the clock. You've got 10 minutes to get this mixed properly, thoroughly all the way around and applied and smoothed out. So it's sort of a bit of race against time, but 10 minutes is actually a decently long time. Now for this, I'd recommend taking like some scrap offcuts of wood. So I was cutting some plywood and I had just some sheets like this. And what the benefit of this is it's really strong. It's not gonna snap and break like paddle pop sticks. And you are able to get in and around every hard surfaced edge. And we can get around the side of the pot and mix it up really well. So I recommend getting sort of like a stick thing, or you can also get a paint mixer as well. Either one sort of works fine. Once that's thoroughly mixed and you can't see any of part A in part B, because part A does look very odd, you're gonna just first slap it on and do a nice even coat. Don't be too panicked about getting it really, really dense and stuff. Just sort of apply it leisurely, get it into the bits and pieces, and try and do your best. And once you've also got that cardboard there on the first, you wanna get it up on the side a little bit. You know, start to build this sort of mother mold piece here. Once you've done that, take some IPA and another one of your paintbrushes. And what you're gonna do is spray the paintbrush, and then you're just going to wipe it across the Plasti-Paste. Now what this does is, because this is a fiberglass sort of hardener, it's gonna get really prickly and sharp, which I didn't think it would, but it really does. So what the IPA does is it basically smooths it out and makes it, well, a little bit of a neater finish. So I definitely would recommend putting some IPA on. Once that's done, we're gonna let it sit for about 2 hours, and then we can do coat number 2. Don't worry about our other side yet, just focus on this side. We're gonna layer it up again, and then again probably. Now, the one thing I'm gonna say is that this is, well, this isn't thick enough. I'm filming this, and literally 5 minutes before filming this, I broke it. It's not thick enough, so I do need to get a secondary kit. For anyone interested, this is the 1.5 kilo kit. So I'm gonna need to get another one and build my layers again, because, well, are stuffed up. But basically, you apply it until it's nice and thick and it's really good. Maybe do some tests down the bottom, see if you can sort of start to pry it off. Obviously don't fully pry it off, but that way you'll know that it worked. So then the next step is take our cardboard piece off, and then we can apply it layer 2. Now between all of these layers, it's vital that you use this. This is Mana Mold Release. This is the stuff that I'd recommend to use. It works really well on silicone and onto the Plasti-Paste. Some mold releases won't work with silicone, and some might not work with this Plasti-Paste, but this one is guaranteed to work. So you're just gonna basically spray a really nice even cover over it. There's nothing fancy to it, it's not hard. Just trying to get it in there so it's easier for you to remove when it comes time to remove it. And we're also gonna be spraying it on this side sheeting as well, making sure not to sort of overlap it up the top, because it might be a bit harder to get it undone. But then we're gonna do the exact same process from the other side onto this side, making sure it's nice and thick, really even coats, take your time, and use the IPA at the end to smooth it out. And that is it. It's not really too difficult, you just have to really take your time. Obviously, you've got a 10-minute timer on ya, but don't over panic and rush it and make big mistakes. But I found by the time I was getting down to like my 10-minute timer, the Plasti-Paste wasn't moving as fast, meaning I could really get it in the spot I wanted it, and it was hardening very quickly, which is obviously a positive, because when it started at maybe 30 seconds in, it gets really wet and it's really hard to work with sometimes. So just be mindful of that. But that's pretty much it. And that is the cast pretty much complete. Now, I am going to say is that the 1.5 kilo kit unfortunately doesn't do an entire clone helmet. This thing is really thin, and I only noticed this about 5 minutes before filming this, is that I tried to remove it and it's starting to peel and rip off. So I would definitely recommend getting a second one, like 2 kits, and layering it up, because I'm gonna break this otherwise if it's not thick enough, which is a little bit annoying, but for the sake of getting this video out, it's gonna have to do, and we'll remove the cast in part 3, where we take both sides of the mother mold off the silicone, pulling out the 3D printed bit, and then casting the whole thing. But other than that, I'm really happy with this learning curve. It's pretty good. I think I could have used the IPA just a little bit better, just to smooth things out, but still, it's done a very decent job. The inner 3D print is still good. All of our silicone's looking great, so we're in good luck, I think. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm pretty happy with this one. Stay tuned. I don't really know the next time I'll do the next part for this, but the cast Plasti-Paste is on the way, so hopefully relatively soon. But other than that, I will see you all next week. I believe we've got a Black Panther build ahead of us, so I will see you all next week.